The General Banter Podcast with Cole and Jedis.
What's happening, people? Welcome to the General Banter Podcast again. We prematurely started there, and Niall's been smoking bong rips in the car, and he's like, "Is this on or is this on?" It was all on. It was all working. But we're here, take two. You know what I mean? It's Thursday, the 15th of October. This is either going to be a quick bonus Patreon podcast, the half-hour power hour. That's what I'm calling this. An hour's worth of shit in an hour. An hour's worth of shit in half an hour. That's more impressive. Shane Todd is coming in 40 minutes, so we'll talk here for half an hour. It'll either go on the start of his podcast or the episode with him, or it'll be on Patreon separately. But we're recording a lot of podcasts over 2 days, just because we're a bit late. You know what I mean? I'm making up for lost time, basically. So here we are. It's been a wild week, personally speaking. We've been all over the place. I need 2 hip surgeries from sitting in the car up and down to the fucking hospital with Maureen, because she's in for a new course of treatment, which is just, you know what I mean, 2020, suck my dick. What next? Pandemic, chemo, what else? Huh? The time I went to McDonald's and I just missed the breakfast. What else is gonna happen this fucking year? I'm watching the fucking Social Dilemma, you know, and they're like, these ads are getting very predictive and da-da-da-da-da. And then I get ads on Instagram and I click them and I'm like, oh, these shoes are sweet. This spy fucking tactics are working on me. This predicted fucking, you know, what do you call it? Advertising shit. And then I click on it and I'm like, these shoes are dope. Fair play to Google for fucking reading my mind. And then I click on it, don't have them in a size 11. 2020 can suck my dick. Jesus Christ. I don't know if did I talk about that in the last podcast, watching the Social Dilemma? And there's all these guys who have started, I mean, once again, late to the party, get us. I watched it fucking months after I was supposed to watch it. Everyone's already, you know, yeah, it's old news now. But yeah, there's a load of these guys who started up in tech, and, you know, they've started making these apps, and I forget all the terminology they use because I wasn't really paying attention. I was on my phone, ironically. But, you know, there's guys literally employed to be like, right, how do we keep motherfuckers on this phone? You know, just little teasy things like, oh, you know, they let you see that the other person's read it. You know, they give them the wee do so that you see them there. You know, things like that. Things on Instagram where they get good at like stealing all your cookies, and then your ads are fucking related to it. They're listening to you. I heard on a podcast the other day, whatever new iPhone they're releasing, there's going to be a fucking lights up whenever they're like, yeah, this website's definitely listening to you. You know, when the fucking thing comes on. Because they're allowed to do it willy-nilly now, but now you're going to fucking turn your phone on, the light's going to come on and be like, by the way, we're stealing all your info. And people are going to start taping over the front of their phone the way they do their laptop. I mean, like, I was sitting on my laptop one day and the fucking green light just come on the camera, and I'm like, what's that for? You know? Have I accidentally FaceTimed a family member with my erect piece hanging out? Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's Social Dilemma thing, but they're all going back on themselves now. They're like, listen, we got people hooked, and now it's literally like, you know, a teenager's self-worth is based on how many fucking likes they get, and they're killing themselves. So it couldn't be good. And it is weird. You know, I've read some comments about stuff and I've got pissed off, and then sometimes I break it down into what you're actually doing. You know, people are like, oh, there's all these things, you know, you're hooked on your phone, you know, it's very intuitive, and you want to click and you click and you click and you end up staying there for hours. You get those reports and it's like, you've been on your phone for fucking 6 hours. And I go, oh, I was walking around with a sore neck going, oh, I must be fucking driving too much or my posture's bad. And you're like, no, I just fucking went like this for 6 hours. You know what I mean? Of course my fucking neck's sore. Or anytime I get pissed off at a comment or something, I have to tell myself, like, you know, I refuse to look at a piece of glass and then it ruined my day. I'm looking at some data on a fucking, what does that say? Bet it goes like, oh my God. I refuse to look at a phone. Isn't it ironic that I was also reading a comment there? Look at a phone and just read something and it ruined my day. Fuck that. That's it. That's literally what you're doing. If if you show people from fucking 200 years ago, like, why are these people like looking at a phone, looking at a small piece of glass, and then they've got mental health problems? What's going on, guys? Fuck all that. And it made me real. You know, I was talking to Maureen. I was like, she was like, I don't even have Facebook or anything. And I was like, oh, you deleted it? And she goes, I didn't delete it, but I don't have the app. And I was like, well, why do I have the app? I deleted it. I was just like, I don't fucking have it. I'm not going on Facebook because it's a fucking cesspool at the minute. You know, at least, you know, the younger generations can be either worse or better at social media. That, you know, sometimes they know like a cyberbully type scenario isn't good. But then you get the older generation where there's like, I'll just say what the fuck I want on here. You know what I mean? Belfast Telegraph puts up a comment and they just write on it, oh, fucking anyone who gets an abortion and fucking did the DEP should be killed. I don't know, just random bullshit like that. But it was a good documentary, you know, and all I can ever think about is like that Bill Hicks bit where he's like, you watched, he was talking about the news at the time. Where he's like, you put on the news and it's like death, murder, rape, famine, all this shit. And then he's like, you look out the door and it's like, I feel similar to that living in the country. You know, you could be fucking watching all these Netflix documentaries, people watching murder documentaries before they go to bed and following all this shit on Instagram where people are fucking street fights and people shooting each other in America. Get your traps real fucking tight, man. Get you real angsty. So what's the word? And then, you know, you look outside and you're like, oh, there's nothing here. I mean, does it smell like cow shit? 100% it smells like cow shit. But what's going on? Nothing. You're just chilling out in the country. I don't know. But it's a good documentary. But then I heard on some other podcast they're releasing this phone called the fucking... Was it, this other podcast? It was definitely Joe Rogan. What's it called? The Light phone or something? Light phone 2. Yeah, so they got this bullshit phone that's just 300 quid, fuck off. It's just like it's like a very simple iPhone, you know. It's got like some basic text and stuff. There's no color on it, and it has a basic music player and stuff in it. But do you know what I mean? You know, the conspiracy theory starts to come out where you're like, right, okay. People, you know, it's one of them things like a propaganda movie, you know what I mean? Like Game Changers. Everyone in the country was like, I'm a vegan now because your dick gets smaller and you can also bodybuild when you're... Nah. I was watching this Social Dilemma thing going, I wonder if, you know, they're shitting on the iPhone and its surveillance and all this shit. And then they're going to release a product like this. And you go, I'm going to get this to be safe. And it's even more invasive. You know, they're like, the only way this light phone works is if you know, cut your thumb open and bleed onto this certain area. We get all your fucking information now. I don't know. It's weird as shit. But the wee act-outs in this Social Dilemma are absolutely hectic. You know, they're like, phones are destroying family life. And then, the mom at home's like, we're going to sit down and have a real dinner. And she puts all the phones in like a little lock jar with a code on it. And they're trying to eat their fucking, beef stroganoff. And then the next minute, the wee girl, she's like, I cannot wait another second because I know there's a notification and I got to see it. And this bitch disappears, goes to fucking B&Q, comes back with not only a hammer, but a fucking safety goggles, which ruined it for me because, she's reckless enough to smash open a fucking piggy bank thing, but she's also safety first. Do you know? She's like, I'm gonna smash this to bits, but I do have protective eyewear. I'm not a fucking idiot. Which made it not real for me. I watched that bit and I was like, this is some horse shit. No one would ever fucking put on safety goggles. Why is that? It's twice now I've tried to drink out of that. The lid's problematic. But yeah, the act outs in between, fucking bullshit. And then they have this bit where they're like, there's all these quotes flying around like, if the product is free, then you are the product. Because they're just trying to advertise to millions and millions of people at once. And they're like, you're basically an avatar, and there's a control center, and they're all working on how much data they can pass through this avatar. And then they cut to this sort of space age, like lab type thing where there's like 3 guys that look the same, and the guy, you know when you're like, is that the best they could do? They just got some guy who looks like he's been doing nothing but auditioning for fucking 25 years, getting a wee bit fat, getting a wee bit old looking, and then they're like, bro, we've got the part for you. You're going to be the same person thrice, and we're going to brush your hair in different directions to distinguish that, and then you work as a team, you know, to pump information into this avatar of a person who's just using an iPhone. And he gets all the wrong information, makes a lot of wrong choices in life, and then ends up at a fucking protest where he gets arrested. And if that's not a propaganda movie, I don't know what is. They're basically going, you stay on your phone too much, you take in too much of this shit, you're going to be pulled over to the left, and you're going to become a fucking activist with no job, and the next minute you're going to be at a goddamn fucking Trump made this movie basically. You're going to end up at a protest and cops are going to arrest you. And fuck you're white, because you're only going to get arrested, not shot dead. You fucking nerd. I saw a video there. Speaking of videos I shouldn't be watching. Some guy in a fight with a cop, and he looks like a skater kid who's probably just, you know, got schizophrenia. And you have a skateboard in your boot, so watch out. Too many blows to the head. But the guy's obviously massively demented, and he's holding a knife, and the cop's like, put the knife down or whatever, and then the guy swings the knife at him and cuts him in the neck, and then the guy chases him down, tasers him, and you're like, bro, if that was a black dude, he'd have about fucking 8 magazines worth of fucking bullets in him already. Because he's a fucking wee Avril Lavigne skater boy, they're like, give him a chance. He's just had a fucking bad day. His parents probably don't pay him any attention because they're out being lawyers all day. He's got a fucking knife, and the cop's like, bro, come on, sit down, it's alright, man. Meanwhile, a black guy, you know, comes out of a shop with a Mars bar and like, he's got an AK-47. And then they get up and they're like, oh, it was just a Mars bar. Fuck's sake. Raging. Anyway, that's what I've watched over the last few days. I also found out, I can't remember what I've talked. Have I talked about the Andrew Schultz Patreon yet? That's the biggest one in the world. Let me tell you something, and we're going to clip this and we're going to put it out. If you know who Andrew Schultz is, he has a podcast called Flagrant 2, and it is the biggest comedy Patreon on Patreon. And the last time I checked, it only had 15,000 people, and I have about 1,500 people, right? And between all the different people on the thing or whatever, you know, I could easily scrape together 15,000 cunts paying $1. If his is the biggest, let's make the General Banter podcast the fucking biggest. Even if it's for a month. Everybody out there, log on. We'll have plenty of free podcasts. We'll have plenty. They're not free if you're buying them. Even though the rates do change and some people are like, I'll sneak in there at $1. Shame on you. Okay? Unless you're literally taking food out of your children's mouth, and which I expect you to do, but you know, $1's fine. But listen to me. You buy the episodes, you're getting access to specials. There's behind the scenes documentaries. Not vlogs, documentaries. Okay? Just everyone pull together. And you know what? People give off like, oh, I've seen this on BBC. Oh, why are you not doing this on BBC? This is shite. Why all is this shite? Hole in the Wall gang shite. This new comedy show shite. Why do you never do fucking stuff? Number one, it's dead. But what I'm saying is, think of what you pay for your TV license. Move it all over to my Patreon. Okay? What's a TV license? 100 and something pound, 140 pound. Pay that into my Patreon. 16,000 of you for 1 month. And we'll just make a fucking menu of stuff we're going to make out of the budget. Like, I was expecting him to go, we've the number one comedy podcast, and then he's on it. 15 million? Wrong. 15,000 on the Patreon? We could scrape it together and we'll make fucking movies. We'll make series. We'll shoot specials for all the other comedians that you know and love. Get it all out there for 1 month. You know? And then we'll go to the sea, a cliff edge, and blow our brains out. Before this second lockdown kicks in. Guys, it's a circuit breaker. I didn't even bother looking at the fucking rules this time. I was like, who gives a flying fuck? You're only allowed outside in flip-flops between 4 and 6, and you gotta wear a mask in your fucking tent. I never crashed the car there with the mask. I came out of the shop, the mask on, got in the car, drove off, went to take the mask off, kind of slipped and snapped back on my eyes. And I was just fucking, oh, Jesus Christ! I'd rather get COVID than plough the fucking car into the front of a bin lorry. You know what I mean? Although, you know what I mean. You'll do anything for a story on this fucking podcast. That's what I'm saying. Let's make General Banter, patreon.com/General Banter podcast. Biggest podcast fucking Patreon in the world. Let's do it. You could easily go from 1,500 to 15,000. No bother. Get a big budget in. We'll shoot. We'll make our own Netflix. It'll be the Netflix of Northern Ireland, which is absolutely the worst thought anyone's ever had. What ideas could you have for your fucking Northern Ireland Netflix? You know, Frank Mitchell investigates extreme weather around the world. Well, would you look at that? I still think about that clip where he was talking to, what's her name, Shan, or what's her name? She's like a famous weather person too. Hold on. What's her name now? No. Cool. Shan Lloyd. There was some clip one time where they were like interviewing each other and they pretty much nearly were fucking. I don't know what it was, but he was like, that's Frank Mitchell, like, there's a lovely lipstick you're wearing. She's like, oh yeah. And they literally said something, like kissed her on the lips. I was like, what is this? What is it? That was TV back in the day where you could be like, if it's literally like Anchorman, I'm going to take a run at the new girl. Oh, grabs her tip. Frank Mitchell's out there like, I wonder what that lipstick tastes like. Real old school porno chat up lines. Hey, I wonder what that lipstick feels like on my cock. What other shows could there be? Just Julian Simmons doing Nolan. Just anything with Nolan, really. Nolan exposed. Nolan should do pedo hunter, shouldn't he? You ain't here fucking kids with no mask on. You're a fucking disgrace. Everything has to do with masks. What do you think you're doing in this ship with fucking £100 million worth of cocaine with no fucking mask on? You joking me? What do you mean you've a fucking lorry container full of fucking immigrants from China and you in here with no mask? You fucking disgraceful. He's just eating crisps while he's talking. Fucking disaster. Just literally biscuits like that. Here. Here. Have you fucking no mask on here? I see you're trafficking kids inside fucking IKEA furniture. With no mask on. Just give me 10 minutes to finish this Belvita biscuits. Like eating a camel's chuff. Dry! What are you having? You got those... Look at that dirty bastard. Let me see if I can get Frank Mitchell. Who else is from here? I mean, it's funny that like 90% of the famous people from Northern Ireland are just do the weather. I literally was going, who else is there? Frank Mitchell, Barra Best, Rory McIlroy. Also heavily dependent on the weather. Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know. There's Boris Becker. Couldn't look more like Darren Matthews, the comedian. Anyway, I've no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Who else is famous from here? Are you Googling? They're either like, oh yeah, but like Fight World brought to you by Carl Frampton. You know, and he turns up in like, where is it, Senegal, where they have those giant black dudes wrestling each other. Fuck out there, I'm not fighting you. I can't. He's up to like, there's just a guy's dick. They fight with their dicks out. Stop texting me, Aaron McCann. What do you want? Oh, shout out to Aaron McCann. His dad passed away. God bless P.O. McCann. Fuck's sake. Here, talking of famous people, don't want to drop names. There was quite a few personalities at that funeral. I wasn't at it, sadly. I'm going down to see him tomorrow. I was in the fucking hospital with my wife. The joys. But here, let me tell you, it was a who's who of the country world. In fact, I'm surprised fucking Dolly Parton wasn't there. They stopped short of just like, you know, the biggest country stars of all time. Willie Nelson was there. Not really, but like getting there. You name it. Hitting diffs everywhere, if you know what I mean. No, I don't know. I don't know who sings Hit the Diff. Who is it? Papa Roach. Papa Roach. I'm absolutely out of my mind today. What I'm saying is, get on to GeneraBand or patreon.com/GeneraBand podcast. Let's, for 1 month, listen, what have I got on Instagram? I don't have that many because I'm not buying them from Indonesia. You know, Shane said that to me. He's like, there's an app where you can put people's profile through it and they'll tell you where their followers are from. And he goes, let's just say there's a lot of influencers from Northern Ireland have a big fan base in Indonesia. And I went, meow. Meow from that guy. Because I have 36,000, which, let's face it, is criminally low. Like the old Blender page is about 160,000. That's more where we should be operating at. But the good thing is, you know, I've 30. What did I say there? I have 36,000 of a good age range of people. You know what I mean? You don't want to be on TikTok where there's a load of fucking children following you, going like, "Who's this? Oh, do you have any grandchildren?" Because they've no concept of age. You know, hey, you're 33. You must have. Are you a great granddad yet? Because they're just like, I'm fucking 14. I don't know what happens. You're the age of my dad. But yeah, come on, guys. At least 30,000 of you could get over on the Patreon for a fucking day. Chuck a $5 in, and me and Niall make a fucking feature-length movie. Eastbound and Down, the movie, but just steal the name and sort of copy the style. Getting some funny comments about this car. Like, I've been talking about it on the podcast for a long time. It's finished. And I uploaded a picture of it, you know, giving the boys a PMG a bit of a shout out. And there's always one. There's always one guy. Like, where's this fucking thing? I felt like I'm getting that way now where I see something I don't like and I'm just like deleting it. You go, right, it's a CLK 55, right? Guy goes, fuck's sake, man. Should have been an E55 W211. Of course. Much sexier, enjoy. Well, let me tell you something. When I turned up to buy the car, the guy didn't have an E55. I mean, what? I hate when people do that shit. You know, here we are. We finally had our baby has arrived. It's a little boy, £8.5, whatever. Mate, should have had a girl. Yeah! Really? Fucking dickhead. Guess what? The car should have been a fucking Porsche, but unfortunately on the day it wasn't. Jesus Christ, man. Bring back euthanasia. How long have I been talking for now? It feels like ages, but I've talked quite a pile of shit. 25 too long is what I would say. Anyway, there was a thing come out there after fucking Takeshi 6ix9ine. What do you call that guy? Rikishi fucking Takeshi Tsunami? No, the guy the government guy. Tsunami Tashiki. What's his fucking name? He's telling everyone to get new jobs. Rishi Sunak. Takeshi. He's all like, maybe you should start retraining. And then all these pictures come out. I mean, do they not have they're so out of touch, aren't they? They're like, man, we put all these posters out. You should retrain in cyber. What the fuck? I've never heard that term in my life. They keep coming up with these, you know, lockdown, self-isolation, social distancing. They just make shit up as they go along. Fatima's next job could be in cyber. Have you ever heard anyone ever say, like, get a job in cyber? Never heard that in my life. What is, do we work in cyber? Do we? Is this cyber? Anyway, this fucking ballet dancer's putting on her wee ballet shoes and said, Fatima's next job could be in cyber. She just doesn't know it yet. She just doesn't know it yet is quite ominous for some reason. She thinks she's a ballet dancer. She has no idea she'll be on OnlyFans in fucking a week. As she's pirouetting round the stage, she doesn't know that she'll be trafficked to an island where they shoot snuff movies, where she'll be fucked and murdered and put in the sea in cyber. She looks quite thick to be a ballet dancer, I'll say that. Because, male chauve. Derek Chauvin. He killed George Floyd. But yeah, people are always, they're like, if you do a job in the arts, you're going to have to get quote unquote a real job. But the fact of the matter is, you dumb cunt, if you earn a living doing a thing, it is your job. And if you're telling people they can't go out of their house and they can't do the job that they trained years to do, maybe they do need a bit of help right now. Some people thrive in the lockdown, some people don't. A lot of coaches are like, man, who needs a gym? I'll just sell you a page that says do sit-ups and I'll make a fucking fortune from home. So I can't find any more. There's only the fat one. Sophia's next job could be in cyber. She just doesn't know it yet. I mean, she's counting stock on a shelf there in a clothes shop, and I'm pretty sure, you could sell jeans online, so that's not a problem. Cyber first. What is cyber first? Like, this thing's getting out of control. It's going to spiral out of control pretty quickly, I think. When people can't work and they're trying to get everyone to that point where they just pay you a certain amount of money, and they're like, listen, we keep you sweet, but you're essentially in prison. We're giving you enough money to survive. Everything's taken care of. Just don't get too excited. And everyone's going to be, it's going to be fucking North Korea before you know it. Cyber first! What is this shit? I don't even know. I mean, this is taking me to the fucking... I don't know. I've wandered into a place that I have no idea about. Anyway, guys, whatever you're doing, get a job in cyber. Are you a bricklayer? Download Sims. Build a fucking water park. What was there like a Sims water park thing, or was that a different game? Get that game where you build a fucking roller coaster. If you're a bricklayer. Yeah, it is rude, and especially when the lines aren't. What do they call this one? A circuit breaker now? Like they're just making up terms, and people are like, right, now we've got a fucking new thing to learn. Circuit breaker. People were getting a bit retarded. Well, this is the problem. I've learned a few things recently. I've heard a few stories of people going like, oh, such and such needs to get tested because they were back at work and a guy that they work with, his wife tested positive, but the guy kept coming to work for like 3 days. And I realized that we're not fighting a pandemic or a virus. You're fighting retards. Because that's if you're going to have rules, you got to really put them firmly in place, because thick people don't understand that. People of a certain age, for the most part, don't understand it. I saw a guy walk into a shop the other day and he was holding a mask on his face. The mask didn't have any ear straps and it looked like he wiped his hole with it. Some old farmer. It was disgusting. He's like, there you go, safe from a pandemic, because I'm holding this out fucking stinking pair of knickers over my face. There's those guys where you're like, there's a pandemic, and he's nodding his head, but he's going like, I don't know what a pandemic is. You've got those people. You got the people who are like, oh well, she tested positive, but I'll just, I'll keep going to my job as a fucking, school teacher for 2 weeks before I realise I've passed it on to a load of other people. Dickheads. That's what you're fighting. You're fighting stupidity, really. Unbelievable. Anyway, we'll get out of here, will we? Tell all your friends about this podcast. Get them onto it. We're going to be recording with Shane Todd here. That's going to be an interesting episode, not just me talking craziness. But yeah, let's make a real push to get the biggest Patreon. I feel like making a movie. I'm done with stand-up. You know, I couldn't be fucked. I've done that for years. You know, I was into graphic design. I was like, this feels a bit limited creative-wise for me. Let me move on to like moving images. Then started making a thing. And I was like, oh, you can be really creative when you're writing comedy and making a short video. And then I'm like, but then it's just video. And then I was like, stand-up's completely free. You know, you can do whatever you want. But then I'm bored of that now. So we're coming back. We're just going to make a fucking movie. You know what I mean? Suck my dick. Superbad 2. Here we come. Let's get the biggest Patreon in the fucking country. Biggest Patreon in the country. And to quote the late great P.O. McCann, you never have to leave. You weren't here. You weren't around now for that whole debacle, were you? Aaron's dad did a bit of a PSA for Oma. Bit of an ad where people are like, and he's like, you got pubs, clubs, restraints. Said restaurants wrong. We all laughed at that for many years. And he goes, it's got everything. And then he goes, you never have to leave. Which we did say for a good few years. You never have to leave. And let me tell you something about Oma. You do. You do and you should. But it's a nice spot. I like gigging there. Anyway, we're going to get the fuck out of here and record this other podcast. Cheers for listening. Tell your friends. We're going to come back in the next podcast with a load of sponsors. One of them is CBD. The other one is for shaving your fucking loose taint. No legit sponsors whatsoever. Hey, do you wanna feel relaxed while you're fucking shaving your fucking ball bag? Flow CBD and Manscaped collabo. You know? Do you want a relaxed anus while you're shaving a circle around it? Flow CBD and Manscaped. Anyway, we'll see you fucking, I don't know. We're recording 3 podcasts over 2 days. I don't know when the fuck I'll see you. Probably next Tuesday. You know what I mean. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for listening.